Welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Emmett Muckles. Please visit iTunes, Stitcher, or emmettmuckles.com to listen to all the episodes for free.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, today on the Billionaire Lifestyle, my guest is Susan Finley, or just call her Sue. Sue is the author of Keys to Unlocking the Laws of Attraction, What You Must Know to Have the Life You Desire. She has been an elementary school teacher for 25 years, but then decided to pivot, find a new direction. She has so much energy. She has so much information that connects us to the universe, to our angels, to our spirituality, and to manifesting and creating that life you want. So stay tuned. Hey, Sue, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate you asking me to come on today.
No problem. I hate to say it this way, but I was actually stalking your YouTube channel today.
Oh, okay. That's great.
You know, sometimes you have to look and see what everybody has online and how you can get information for when, you know, I'm talking about you, so I can find out these things.
I'm glad you did. And I have a website, too. I don't know if you did get on my website at all.
Oh, we're going to get to all that in a little bit here. So just hold off, because I want to ask you some questions before we get too heavy into a few things here. So tell me about your journey, because you did what the Billionaire Lifestyle is focused on, which is finding out what your heart is telling you and moving in that direction. Because a lot of times in life, our family, our friends, our social situation dictates what we are and what we become in life, but that doesn't always resonate with us. So how did you move from teaching to coaching?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I do think a lot of people are headed in this direction right now. And the reason, I can just tell you a little can I tell you a little bit background about why I think I also moved in? A lot of people are also doing that.
Sure.
Because I think the energies now on the earth are helping us do this. The energies coming in now are the highest they've ever been on the planet Earth. Now, what do I mean by that? The energies are coming from the Creator, all the divine teams, even galactic teams, if you can picture from the galaxies in the solar system, and all the high-level beings are supporting us right now and sending us these high energies right now at this time of our life. This is helping us to go in a little deeper level of what we're usually in, at least before 2012. Before 2012, our planet was called a 3D planet. Are you familiar with that?
No, you have to educate me. And I was actually going to ask you to backtrack a little further to explain some of the terms that you were talking about those that are helping us, because some people just don't know, and I don't want to lose anyone.
Okay. Well, when I say the divine, I'm talking about the Creator, or who we call God, or what our religions call God, or a higher power. And then the divine, or the higher power, also has assistants and helpers for us. And these helpers are angels and archangels. Now, archangels are very powerful, and they're assisting the earth right now. Archangel Michael is one of the big assistants of our earth right now, and he helps protect us and does many things for us, even fixes electrical appliances if we ask him. And Archangel Raphael is helping our world right now, and he is a big healer. So if you have a medical problem and you want assistance, Archangel Raphael is really a good one to ask. Also, if you believe in Christianity, Jesus, if you're familiar with the Bible, with Jesus and Mary, they're helping immensely. There's many masters. We call them ascended masters because they've lived here on the earth before, in another lifetime, actually, if you believe in other lifetimes, which I do. They've lived in other lifetimes, and they have what we call ascended, and they've gotten such a high vibration, they didn't need to come back anymore. What they're doing is they're operating from the higher realms, and they're sending us love and healing and high vibrations so we can achieve what we need to achieve on Earth. There are many angels, and we all have angels as guides around us. All of us do. We all have guides that come in and out, and they come in and out when we need them, too. Some stay with us our whole lifetime, but others come in and out when we need them. Maybe we're working on a certain project, and we can call for a guide, too, to come in to help us be more organized or help us be more creative, and that guide will come in to help us with that. So we all have angels and guides that are around us at all times. And it helps if we can ask, because we can have a whole slew of angels and guides helping us, especially if we're going through something difficult or a little bit harder for us, or we need their help. We also have galactic teams and star teams. I know it sounds like doo-doo-doo-doo with Star Wars, but there really are such thing as star teams and galactic teams, and they are high vibrating, high energy. They're filled with love and light, just like Jesus, Mother Mary, the Creator, and they live on other places in the galaxy and in the solar system, and they're all right now watching the planet Earth, because the planet Earth is going through a major, major shift right now into a higher vibration and a higher alignment. That means we are moving forward, and this is great because this has not ever happened. This has not ever happened on the history of the planet Earth. We're moving from a three-dimensional planet, which basically is a planet that we live on, that we were born into, that we didn't know how to react other than when something negative happened, we reacted with fear or anger or any lower level energies like that. We reacted that way because we didn't know any better. That's more three-dimensional reacting and thinking. Starting in 2012, there was something in the spirit world called the harmonic convergence. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
In 2012, in the spirit world, this went on, it was decided by the Creator, by God, and all the divine team that our planet, it has enough people on it that want to move into a higher direction. And so they are now helping us do that. And all the planets are helping us do that. I know it sounds, strange, but they all are helping all the beings on the planet. Now, when I say beings, I don't mean human beings. I mean spiritual beings that live on these planets, and every planet has them. Especially Venus has a lot of very high spiritual beings who are sending love to us, and they've been doing this for a few years now. They've just been sending high vibrations of love to us so that we can, what we call is ascend. They're calling it ascension now. If you've ever heard that word,
yes,
that means we're moving up in vibration. So we have a lot of help now, a lot of help. And even though on our planet it doesn't seem like this, because all we hear in the news is negative things, like we hear about this or that, or this president doing this, or this person doing that, or this country doing this. We really need to get away from that and not focus on the news, because the news pretty much is all negative. That's not really what's going on here. If they would only focus on the positive things that people were doing, we would have a much better and clearer idea of what was really going on this planet. And all the children coming in now, are called, I don't know if you've ever heard of these terms, they're called star children and crystal children. Have you ever heard of these terms?
No, I was thinking you were going to say the term indigo children.
The what? Indigo. Yeah, the indigo children are now, a lot of them are in their 20s. In their teens, and they have come in to help us. A lot of the indigos have brought in the technology. They're the ones who came with the technology, and they brought that in for us, and that was awesome. And then now, after that, there's rainbow children that are coming in, that their auras are filled with rainbow colors, And they're very high-level children who are bringing in light and love of all different colors and all different flavors. And then we have the crystal children whose energy is more crystalline. Like if a lot of people are drawn to crystals now, and the children have the vibration of crystals, which is very pure, very high-level vibrations they're going to really help the world out. The ones who are being born in the year 2000 on up. And the ones even right now being born like 2015, most of the children are coming in are called crystal children. And they have those very high, pure vibrations. Some of them are labeled autistic. Some of them are labeled with very strange labels, and we don't understand them exactly because they're tuned into so many channels. These higher vibrating kids are very smart, very intelligent, but in school, they may turn it around and make it look like they're not. But actually, they are really smart, and they've come here to help the world. So we have so much help now. The children coming in are helping us. The divine teams, starting with the Creator, all the angels, archangels, the masters like Jesus who has lived here before. We have Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene. We have Lord Katumi. He's lived here in the 1800s. If you ever want to look any of these people up on the internet, it tells you who they are. There are so many. There's so many that have lived on the earth and now are helping from the spirit world. But we have so many what we call light workers who are helping on the earth now. And we volunteered to come in. People pretty much that are drawn to your show and all the shows like this are light workers. They may not realize that, but they volunteered to come here at this time to help change things and make the world a better place. So we have a lot of help right now. And the earth right now is in the highest vibration it ever has been in the 2 billion years of our Earth's history.
Let me ask you a question regarding the status of our elevation, because it's not only the news, but depending where you are, it seems like there are a great deal of low vibration people. For instance, I'm in Indiana. I'm near Chicago. And yes. I'm near a very large body of water, which is usually where there are very high vibrational people. I find it to be the exact opposite. I mean, I don't get it. I'm just trying to figure out. I see it. I see that, especially with bringing forth the billionaire lifestyle and talking to people about, following their heart, simplifying, finding out, what their higher level of purpose is, kind of based off of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But then I see that there are a lot of people who are living just at the lower channels of the spectrum. Do you have anything you can address towards that, or is it just me?
That's a really great question, because first of all, everyone needs to know, no matter where you are right now, if we call them asleep or awake. Awake people are more aware of who they really are. People who are asleep haven't yet woken up, and they are. We're all the same. We're all manifestations of God. Actually, we're all extensions of the Creator. And I like to picture the sun. God, the source, is the sun. The body of the sun. We are all the rays of the sun. Every single one of us is a ray of the sun. Even those people you term lower vibrational people, they all are in their higher selves, But what happens is when they come to Earth, they forget that, because there's so many things that oppose that. Like, it could be their families. It could be their families have told them, you're not good enough, you're not this, you're not that. So they start believing it. It could be, any number of things, and it could be numbers of things from their subconscious in their past lives too, which I believe in and had a lot of experience with this. And they don't even realize that they're doing this. But remember, everyone at the highest level is all equal. We're all equal. No matter what we say we are, what we're doing, we're all equal. It's just that they haven't woken up to it yet, and maybe they weren't taught this yet. So this is why all this information is coming out right now. People are waking each other up. They may not have been woken up yet. And another thing to consider is a lot of these energies that are coming in right now are helping people release some of the things they need to release. And it comes out sometimes as really negative things. Like, I've had a lot of people in some of my classes saying, how come I feel worse than I did? It's because when these energies are so high, it's kind of like they're lifting things out of your subconscious that you don't want anymore, and they're bringing them to the surface. That could also be happening with some people. They're kind of experiencing all these lower things they didn't even realize were in them. And then later on, though, they will be released somehow. Their soul wants them to release them. And this is why we're getting help from a lot of the divine teams now to help us release all these things. And you can even help release them yourself, because we don't know what they all are. Everyone has a subconscious, which is really the sum total of all experiences of everything you've gone through ever since you were created. And so we don't really realize all the things we've gone through in all the other lifetimes. We don't realize that they were good and bad. We've had experiences we turn negative that really aren't negative. They're just experiences. And we've come here, the reason we've come here on Earth is to learn more about who we are, embracing the good and the bad. And this may be a little surprise to some people. They may not be ready to hear this. But sometimes your enemies that you think are bad people, how come I have to be around them? They're so bad. They are actually your friends in the spirit world who have volunteered to come in and take that role so that you would wake up and you would be stronger and you would have more love and you would have more light. Someone needed to push against. I'm just saying you. I'm saying not just you. I'm not talking to you, Emmett. I'm just saying in general. Someone needed to push against you, and they actually were your friend who volunteered to do this.
Hey,
Same with the parents.
Let's digress. Let's digress a little bit, because what was your moment of awakening and bringing you to the path where you are right now?
I think that's a very good question. For me, I can honestly say I think it happened to me. I've always been attracted to things that were kind of weird, like metaphysical type things that my mom and dad would tell me. But my real true journey started when I was about 26 years old. And I was always really healthy, I thought. And I started getting really sick. And I didn't know what was wrong with me. And I had many tests run. I went to a lot of different doctors. And what happened is it became a medical waiting game. The doctors told me, come back in 6 months. We'll retest you. I don't know if you've ever been through that, Emmett. Have you ever been through that before?
No, I haven't. I've been healthy as a horse. I'm just getting OLD, as they say, and suffering those little aches and pains that we all tend to go through. But other than that, I've been picture of health.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I decided I wasn't going to play this waiting game because I do know a lot of people that have gone through this, and it's just really, you're just coming back, and many times when that happens, you just worry and you're in fear instead of doing something for yourself in the meantime. So I'm the kind of person that doesn't just sit there waiting for doctors to give me a diagnosis. I want to go help myself. But I remember being at home one day, and I said, please help me. What should I do? I just said that. And I just happened to turn the TV on when I was cleaning. And I remember thinking, why am I doing that? I never usually turn the TV on. And there was a talk show on, and a man was, it might have been an old show, I don't know, Merv Griffin or something like that. And this man came on who was talking about a healer who had gone into a trance, and he channeled information from a very high source. And this man also gave thousands of medical readings on people from all over the world. And they said he was about 98% correct in his diagnosis. And his treatments are really highly effective for those who followed them. And the man's name was Edgar Casey.
Oh, yeah, I know Edgar Casey, yeah.
Yes. So that started my spiritual journey. I started getting into Edgar Casey's files and his information on spirituality and his information on diet and healing. I practice all of that right now. I follow Edgar Cayce's diet very well, and I still have done it ever since I was young. And I do a lot of his healing techniques still, and I think it's anti-age me actually. And he's the best that I've ever tried. I've tried so many different other diets, and he's the best. I do the best on his diets, but it's opened a whole new world for me. To make a long story short, after I followed this diet and these exercises, I remember about a year and a half to 2 years later, I remember waking up, because usually when I woke up, I felt like a truck was hitting me. I felt like so tired after like 8 hours of sleep that a truck hit me. I couldn't even get out of bed. Well, I remember waking up one morning thinking, wow, I don't feel sick. I feel healthy. There's absolutely nothing wrong with me. And it just started my spiritual journey and also into a much better way of living healthy. And so that, I think, is the very beginning of what I needed to do. And I think going through something that we term difficult gives us, leads us, it may be difficult and shakes up your life, but I think they're for higher purposes of getting you on the right path. And I think that was meant for me to get on this path. And I wasn't on the right path because my religion that I was in then really didn't offer me all these things that I was ready for. And it was just perfect for me. And I knew being sick, not all the time being sick is the path you should go on, but because sometimes you can attract that into your life too. But I knew for me, that just got me into where I needed to go. And I think a lot of people have that experience. It just gets you to where you need to be in your life.
So how did you move from... Because you were a teacher before, was there a particular grade or that you were in? And how did you move from teaching to being a coach and embracing the things that you love about metaphysics and things of a higher realm?
That's a really good question, because I think I've always embraced things of a higher realm, but I just couldn't do it in my actual job. There wasn't a job that was created for that. Now, we're so fortunate that more jobs are popping up, like yoga instructors and speakers and people who channel the higher realm. There's so many jobs that are opening up now that weren't looked upon as very favorable either, even 10 years ago. They didn't look like it looked like they were too, outer spacey kind of thing. Now, with life coaching, there are life coaches, and it was something that just fit right in with who I was. I was always like that, but there was never a job created that would allow me to do this. Because I remember thinking when I was even teaching, wow, I would either like, or in college, I would either like to be a teacher or a counselor. And I didn't know which one to go to, and I decided if I'm a teacher, I can also counsel. So it was kind of always something I always liked to do. But then when I heard, wow, what is this life coaching? What is this? And I started looking into it, and I started looking up other life coaches and talking to them. I decided that would be perfect for me. In fact, I like it so much now that I decided to leave teaching early. I didn't have all my 30 years in a public school. I could have gone longer. And I decided to leave it early and go with my heart and my happiness. And I'm only doing it part-time now, which is sometimes a good way to do it instead of just dropping things all at once. I went a little bit at a time, one step at a time, and now I'm talking on the radio and writing books, and I never in a million years ever thought I could do this.
So what was your process of moving forward from where you were to where you are now? Because I know it's not just jump into it. Like, I'm going to leave this all behind and I'm just going to move this way. Was it step by step? Was it finding your way, testing the path and then finding your foothold and then moving a step forward from there? So what was your journey with that scenario?
That's a really good question, because a lot of people want to know how to do this. It was step by step for me. The first step was how to get a life coaching degree. I had to search that out. I had to go online. I had to see what would fit me the best and my schedule the best. and I decided that I was going to fly to another state. I had to do some work ahead of time, and I had to have things completed ahead of time, which was great for me because I got to stay at home and do it in my own time. It wasn't a class, but then when I flew to this other state, I had to have all this done. And they basically went through a whole life coaching certificate with me on a long weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I've got my life coaching certificate. But really what I've done is so far beyond that. It didn't stop there with the life coaching certificate. It didn't even stop there. Then I started looking into other areas that I'm interested in, metaphysics, and I went online, and I thought, what classes could I take online that wouldn't cost a lot of money? And there are free classes. There are a lot of free classes online that I thought helped me out immensely for the direction I was going in. And you just have to look, and it was one step at a time. It's been 7 years since I started this journey with the life coaching, and I'm so happy I did it and I didn't give up, because I think a lot of people give up too soon. They say, oh, if I can't have it immediately, I can't do this. But what I would recommend, too, for a lot of people is to take it one step at a time. Don't completely give up your day job. If you can work it out that you can do a little bit of something you want to get into at a time, or the universe opens it up for you, though. You'll see if it doesn't feel right and things are not jiving the right way, it's not the right timing. You just have to go a little bit at a time. That's what I did. And then I was able to release my full-time teaching job in the right timing, too. I actually would have wanted to do it 2 years earlier, but I didn't feel with the money coming in it would be enough for me to do that. So I stuck it out another 2 years while I was still trying to take classes in life coaching and start contacting more people, get out there a little bit more. And then after that, I started speaking at different organizations, and I didn't make a lot of money at first. I'm still, wanting to make more money, but I can tell you that I will, and I am. I'm making more money than I did in the beginning, because in the beginning, sometimes you have to start out slow, and that's just how it is to get known. And I talked at libraries for free, but then later on, I had a book that I wrote, and I was able to sell my book at the libraries, and I even talked at conferences around my area, and I talked at expos around my area, and then I started selling my book, and that helped bring in money. In coaching, then I started getting people who heard of me in my talks, and people called me for coaching sessions. And I also do angel card readings also. So it just, for me, it happened a little bit at a time and a little bit at a time. And then I started working with some people that said to me, well, now I think you're ready for the radio. I think you're really ready for the radio. So for me, it happened that way. And now I'm working on my second book that I'm writing, and that's going to be on Amazon when I'm done, because I'm doing it on Amazon. And so I would have never, ever, 7 years ago, would have ever guessed I could ever write a book, number one. And I could never have guessed that I would ever even be able to speak in public, because I was always afraid to talk to people in public. I hated it. Hey, I did not want to talk in school.
Before we move on, and I have a few questions, but we're going to get to your book, which is The Keys to Unlocking the Law of Attraction, What You Must Know to Have the Life You Desire. Because that's one of the things that I remember when I saw The Secret back in 2007,
yes,
it left me lacking. I mean, it had me all pumped up, and then there was nothing. So, information that someone can provide that can steer a path for someone is really great and needed in this world. But what I want to find out is someone may be venturing in a journey similar to yours. So one of the things that you said was you began speaking locally for free and for little pay. Yeah. How did you set that up? How did you go from being a teacher and saying, hey, I need to get out here and speak to people? What was your process for that?
Well, I've worked with another life coach also that could coach me in how to even set up a website. So it's very beneficial to have help if you can. And I wanted to find out from coaches who are already established. So I first of all worked with a business coach who showed me how to set up a website, a really good professional website. And that helped me. Since then, I've redone it a couple times because I upgraded it and updated it.
It's a nice looking site, too.
Oh, thank you. The first one I had is good for what I needed at the time. And then I felt I needed to upgrade it a little bit. But I realized that I needed to have someone with experience tell me sometimes you need to be told, here's a good idea for the next step. So in writing a book, I never actually thought I could write a book because my mom used to say, you have too many exclamation points after every sentence, and you have too many dangling participles, and you have this, or whoever told me, whoever was checking my work. But then I realized it wasn't really all these things that mattered. It was really what I said. I can have a proofreader proofread my book and take all those things out or add more things, but the content is going to stay the same because that is really what I'm learning and what I'm teaching others. It's not that I can write a perfect book with perfect, grammar and, perfect punctuation. That you can get someone to help you with this stuff. There's a lot of people out there now available to help you. There's so many different kinds of coaches. There's business coaches, there's bereavement coaches, there's life coaches who specialize in so many different things. I've met so many life coaches who are so unlike me. They're not like me at all. Some of them are good coaches for children who are needing help on what to major in college. They're coaches just who specialize in that because kids are sometimes not sure at all what direction they should go in. And then I've just met so many different kinds of coaches with me. I already knew it was kind of going to be a metaphysical, spiritual slant because that's what I've always been interested in. That made me excited, and I was passionate about it. So always go with your passions and excitement because you can be many different kinds of coaches out there. And I know this coach that I work with that was working on websites. She was also a life coach also. She was really doing really well. So you just have to keep sticking with it, though, to get more known. And someone suggested, or I might have thought of it, hey, maybe I should call the public libraries around my area. Maybe they'll want to hear what I have to say. And I did, and I got some no's, but I got a lot of yeses, too. In fact, someone liked me enough at one of the libraries that they suggested I be one of the trainers at the whole district-wide library conference. So there was maybe 15 speakers who were teaching all the librarians. And someone who liked me at one of the talks I gave for just the general public, in that library, said, hey, Sue, would you like to do this? And I did. And that's another way of getting more well-known. People talk to other people. I think that's one of the best ways is through different people that have communicated and talked to you. That's one of the best ways of getting known. And then you can say to yourself, what is my next step? What is the next step I should take? And if you're not sure on it, you could ask for help, ask for divine help. Say, please tell me what my next step is. Or you could call a coach, or wherever you could ask, a master, ascended master, to please put that idea in your mind. What is the next step now, so I can bring this into fruition? I can make this happen. And usually it happens. A lot of times it happens step by step. It doesn't just happen from one day to the next, because usually there's too big a gap in there from what you wish and then your desires are. You just don't believe it. Many people don't believe it's going to happen unless it happens in little steps. There are some people who can manifest that, but a lot of people will believe it more when they take one step at a time.
So let me ask you, as we move forward, the book. Once you got the book, was it just things that were in you already, or was it something that you had to pull out of yourself, organize, and then put the thoughts down?
That's a very good question. I think it's kind of a combination of what I've learned in many of my classes, what I've already known already, and being guided. I think all three of those things happened for me in that book. And actually, when I read the book back, I cried because I couldn't remember writing it. It was a combination of things. I think I was definitely getting divinely guided for it. But I also, to put those words down on paper, I heard them somewhere. And I heard them from a class or a book I read, and it was things in my own life that I've learned from that I think was a big part of it too. So it's kind of a combination of all of them.
So let me ask you down to the brass taxes here. So what is it that you offer that can help people with their daily or their overall life?
Well, that's my specialty because I really do think after the class I've taken, there have been so many that I've interested because I really want to help people because now what's happening is the energies are so high. We are actually manifesting 10 times faster what we think about than we did in the year 2000. 10 times faster. If you think about that, that's awesome. But it can also be really scary. So, in other words, what we put out there, we're going to get back 10 times faster than the year 2000. So I just want to make people aware of that because many people aren't aware that their thoughts and their feelings and their actions are on a certain vibration or wavelength. It's kind of like a radio wave, how you turn on a dial on a radio and you get that channel.
Yeah.
Well, you're actually doing the same thing as a radio. You're sending it out, though, but when you send it out, it's coming back. The same thing is coming back to you. That channel is coming back to you. And many people don't realize that when they're in a lower vibration of like anger or distrust or hurt or jealousy or whatever the lower vibration is, they're actually attracting that back to themselves. And I think so the first step is people need to know that that's happening because many people don't know that's happening. I know I wasn't taught that when I was growing up.
Excuse me.
Bless you. Were you taught that, Emmett, when you were growing up?
I'm sorry, I was choking a little bit when you said it. Can you repeat the question?
I know I wasn't taught that growing up when I was growing up. I wasn't taught that what I thought and felt in my actions were actually attracting the same thing back to me.
Well,
I wasn't taught that.
Mine was a little bit different because, A, I was kind of an only child, so I had the freedom to explore a great deal of things. B, I was a kid who, as soon as I was able to read at about 6 or 7, I was in the library. So my universe was expansive. And I was, one of my aunts, they said, you were way before your time when you were a kid. They were like, you weren't a normal kid.
That's awesome. And that probably is the reason why you're doing this show now, this radio show now, because you're bringing all of that you've learned and using that on to teach people.
Well, one of my big things is this. I don't mind having a job. And I don't mind, and I'm not a person who reports to people, quit your job. Jobs have a purpose. And here's how I think of having an occupational job is the fact that it allows you to afford things if done right. And if it's done consciously, if you work consciously, you can do all the things that your heart's desire, but it requires your input. It requires you to take a step forward in the direction, use your job to finance your life.
Yes. And be in joy of the job that you have right now, even if you think that you're not going to be there forever because you don't like some things about it or a lot of things about it. Be appreciative of the job you have right now because it's bringing money in. Because when you're in that higher vibration of appreciation, that's how you're going to attract that next job to you. You have to be in that higher vibration. That's another thing I teach people, because to watch their thoughts and be in a higher vibration of appreciation and gratitude, even if you know that job isn't going to be the one you want to have. because that's what's going to create that next job, because the universe just says yes to you. Yes, yes, yes. So if you're always complaining about something, you're complaining about your job, the universe is looking and saying, wow, they must really like to complain. I'm going to give them something more to complain about.
Yeah,
and that's what exactly happens.
You know,
so
I was looking at your website, and something just stuck out to me. In your disciplines that you teach, your intuitive understanding for your clients, you know, helping them get in touch with their intuitiveness, holistic education, which is like the mind, body, spirit practice and finding the Trinity, and then the principles of the law of attraction. Now, here's where it caught my eye. When I saw the law of one, and the reason why I say this is because when I wrote my book, which was called The Journey of One, it is really about how we are all connected. And what I do in the book is I talk about a little boy who has this experience, who meets his spirit guide, which is actually himself. Mm-hmm. And teaches him these lessons that he will learn, that he will need later in life. He can't understand them at this moment, but his spirit guide is like, hey, here's some of the things that you need to have in the back of your mind so that when you get to that place where you need them, you can access them.
That's great. Yes. Yes. And as you were saying that his spirit guide was actually himself, that really happens many times. Your spirit guides, a lot of your spirit guides are you in another dimension or another reality. They are you, your higher part of you.
So we're really a video game.
But most people living right now on Earth have lived on the average of 600 lives, and you have to look at this as like a circle. Your past, present, and future really isn't past, present, and future. It's like a continuous circle, like a hula hoop laying down on the ground. Past, present, and future is all on that hula hoop. Most people on Earth have lived 600 lives or more. So they have experience in very high level places, like maybe being an angel. A lot of people who are here on Earth have been angels and are angels in another dimension, and or they may have been a king. They may have been a king of Egypt, or they may have been a pauper, or it may have been a murderer. Because what happens is you wanted to experience everything. You are God, actually experiencing here on Earth, and then in other realms too. You're experiencing in other realms. You're experiencing maybe on the planet Venus, but you're not a human. You're in a spirit form for that locale. So in other words, you've done so many different things, and everyone now, they say on Earth, is ready to move up. Everyone has agreed that they've come here on Earth to see this, to witness that everyone now is moving up together as a whole, and their vibrations are moving up. And everyone has agreed to that in the spirit world. And everyone should feel really fortunate to be here, because from what I've heard is that there were many souls who wanted to come here on Earth at this time, and they couldn't get in. They couldn't get in because there wasn't enough bodies to come into. And almost everyone who's lived in any lifetime wanted to be here. So we were the lucky ones that were chosen to be here at this lifetime, to see the changes in our Earth going now, moving up to a fourth dimension, then a fifth dimension. A fourth dimension is where we are right now, which fourth dimension means love. We're all learning to love ourselves and learning to love each other, and some of us need more help than others, and we're helping each other do that. And then we're heading to the fifth dimension, which is like what we term magic and miracles. We are actually going to be doing this on Earth in a very short time. And we're just moving up and up and up, getting a lot of help. So we should feel really grateful.
Thinking about the levels of spirituality on the planet, and we have all this doctrine that is called religion that says all these different things, and sometimes it's very contradictory in its passages. What is your feelings on the religious doctrines of all the major religions across the planet?
For myself personally, I can speak personally because I've never really actually resonated with a lot of different religions per se, but a lot of their practices with prayer and love and kindness I've always related to. I never related to some of the dogma of the religions, like you must do this, you must do that, or you're not going to heaven. For some reason, I never believed that. And that's why I think I got into the Edgar Cayce readings, because that's more of who I was. I do believe some religions may help people because they talk about prayer, they talk about praying for people in a group, and they talk about love, and they talk about service to other people. I do think some religions do serve a purpose as long as we can let go of some of the barriers that some of the religions put up, the dogma like you must do this, you must do that, you have to do this. I think that's where we're headed, though. That's what I heard we're headed, into more of a one unified kind of spiritual religion in the future. That's where we're headed.
So what's in store for you in the next 12 months?
I hope to finish my book. I know I will finish my book. My book is Create What You Desire, and if that title is okay, I have to still see when I'm done if anyone else has used that title, but I hope to finish my book. I hope to start channeling more. I've been working on channeling the higher dimensions, and I'm working on that, and I've taken classes on that, and I'm wanting to get out there more and help people in any way. It could be people around me, and whoever calls me up and says, Sue, do you want to come out and talk to my group? I'll be glad to do that. And getting on more shows, being more known, because I think I want to help more people, and just getting more known and doing all those different things.
Awesome. Now I have a question for you.
Yes.
This is going to be you have to think about this one. So you're sitting on your couch and your doorbell rings, ding dong, and you get up and you go to the door and you open the door, and there before you is a very young Sue, like maybe 19 or 20 years old. And she says, I know you learned something that will help me along the way. What is that?
It really isn't really hard for me to answer this because I know what it is already. It is it's to let go of judgments of myself and other people and love them no matter what, because I think that's a biggie for people. And that's a biggie for me even, because I always considered myself to be a loving person, but I'll tell you, you can find ways that you're not. And I think everyone can find ways that they can do better at this, and not judging people for what they believe or what they're doing, because we don't even have a clue what they're all about. We don't have a clue what lessons they're learning in their life. And we just have to say, hey, all I'm responsible for is me. And I think that's a biggie for me, is just to let go of judgments and forgiveness of things that you've done in the past that no longer serve you, because it's not healthy, and it's not a high vibration to be in guilt or thinking I should have done this differently, or I should have done that. So can I tell you what I do in place of that now?
Sure, absolutely.
Well, because I know a lot of people have this issue with forgiveness for themselves, because now they're growing and they're saying, how could I have ever done that? Is that me? Is that me who did that? I've had people say that to me. I can't even believe that was the same person. And so what I would say is the universe, the divine, never holds anything against you for what you've done. Nothing. We've only been told that. Maybe our religion told us that, or maybe our mom or dad or teachers told us that. But that's not true. They don't hold anything against us. We're the only ones who hold it against ourselves. And other people have been contributing now. It could have been our mom who made us feel guilty about things. And what it is we've come here to experience everything. And like I say, your person that you think is nasty could be your best friend in the spirit world who's decided to take that role. And they've done it for a higher reason than we could ever even understand. And we just have to say to ourselves, okay, we answered this way, or we did this thing, and now what lesson did we learn from it? What did we learn from that? Are you going to repeat that again? Or not? Or what did we learn? Did we learn to love ourselves more, or have more strength or more courage? So take the lesson you've learned and I do this, I make it into a flower. I pretend in my mind that lesson is a flower. It might be gold, sparkly, it might have blue in it, and I put it in an imaginary flower garden. So every time my mind wants to go back to, I shouldn't have said that to him, I shouldn't have done that, instead of saying that, I look at the flower. I pretend I'm looking at the flower, and the flower is the lesson I've learned from it, because that's really what you came for, is to learn these experiences and lessons. You came for that. You didn't come to be perfect, or else you wouldn't be here. You didn't come to be perfect. You came to learn these lessons. And so instead of beating yourself up about, oh, I should have done this, oh gosh, if I hadn't said this, he wouldn't have done that. He wouldn't have been there. You can't go there, because that's not a high vibration. You have to totally forgive yourself, and everyone's doing the best they could have done in that moment. Remember, the divine never holds anything against you, and you just look at the flower. I look at the flower. If ever I do that, and I do. I go back sometimes to think of certain things, and I remember my flower. Oh gosh, thank you for reminding me, flower, what I learned, and then I leave it. I leave it. I don't go there anymore. I don't go beating myself up. I don't say I'm not worthy of things, because that's the number one reason people do not get what they want, is they don't feel worthy of it. And they have to learn to love themselves, and that's the biggie I was going to talk about, is loving themselves more, because there's been so many people who might have told these people, or all of us, well, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not this enough, you're not that, you're not spiritual enough, you're not good enough. And we've been, some of us have really been told that a lot, and we start believing it. And so it's in our subconscious, because for 30 days in a row, if we've had 30 days in a row of someone telling us we're not this or that, our subconscious believes it. Because our subconscious is like a computer that is getting programmed, and it's getting programmed from other people and from ourselves. So somewhere deep in our subconscious, it could have been another lifetime, someone told us we're not good enough. And that might pop up in different ways in our lifetime. We might all of a sudden have a thought, I can never do this, I can never do this, I can never do what my friend's doing. I'm really not worthy. Although you may not admit it to them, you might be thinking it, and you might wonder, where did that come from? Well, that's coming from your subconscious, or your conscious too. Some people think it right out loud. And so what you have to do is you have to change that thinking around. And it takes 30 to 40 days to change the thinking about how you feel about yourself around. And you cannot skip a day. Here's what I've learned. Because I took a class actually that was channeled from Archangel Michael. And it was on self-love, because I knew I'd be teaching this. And he said, I was saying affirmations about myself and how wonderful I was, and he said, if you skip a day, you have to start all over again. Because pretend your brain is a computer, your subconscious is a computer, and you have to do it every single day for 30 to 40 days. Then you'll start thinking in different ways about yourself.
Wait a minute, you have to state that again. You said what action do you take for 30 or 40 days?
You have to start thinking in higher ways and loving ways about yourself, and saying affirmations, or however you want to do it. Listen to meditation tapes about how wonderful you are for 30 to 40 days in a row. And that'll actually change your subconscious feeling about how you feel about yourself. And you can't skip a day. Can't skip one day, because it's like your subconscious is like a computer that you're programming. And if you skip a day, it's like there's a glitch in it, and it's not going to work right. So you have to say these things every day. So I thought maybe when we ended, I could give you some examples of these affirmations. And affirmations are just statements about who you are.
So why don't you give us those affirmations? Because we're hitting the mark really close here.
Yes. I will do that if you want me to. And then I thought if you also wanted me to, I was going to also do a little process of releasing heart walls around your heart for love, so you can love yourself more. Because what happens is when people have been hurt in their life, they put like an etheric, you can't see it, wall around their heart, and it prevents them from totally loving themselves or loving others. And I thought if you agree on that, and whoever's listening to this show, all you have to say is, I agree, or yes, I want that. And if you don't want it, you just say no, and it blocks it. And I'll read it to you, and it'll actually release heart walls around your heart. And then I thought we could go into some affirmations about you loving yourself. These are samples of what you could say about yourself, because this is number one.
Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. And if you wanted to, you can repeat it out loud or silently after I say it.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. All right. And we're going to do the release on the heart walls. And I'm asking the divine to be present. Divine light and divine love, I request that you please release and dissolve all heart walls and barriers that I have built to protect my heart from all emotional hurt and pain now. I ask divine light and love to dissolve and release all heart walls I have built to prevent me from totally and unconditionally loving myself just the way I am. These barriers around my heart are preventing me from loving myself and loving others. Please release and dissolve my feeling unloved, unwanted, rejected, undeserving of love and unlovable. I also ask to release all fears, anger, worry, and all low-level emotions associated with my not loving myself. I ask divine light and divine love to totally dissolve and release all heart walls and barriers I have now. Through all time-space continuums, all plane of existences and dimensions, all realms and eternity. Please fill all space created with divine light and divine love, divine joy and happiness, and divine harmonious relationships. I ask for this or something better, according to the divine law of grace. I pray that this is so, and so it shall be. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Awesome.
And now it's released. Your heart walls are released until you put them back on again. And please love yourself so you don't put any of them back on again.
Oh, trust me, I love myself.
So I'll give you a few examples of what you could be saying in your life so you can attract this wonderful life that we all want. And then these first few are from Judy Satori. I don't know if you know who she is, but she's wonderful, and she's on the internet. And she's big on bringing in everything new in your life that you really want at this time, because this is a time to ask for what you want in your life with all the high energies. So the first part will be from her when it starts, I am in the new. And the second part, and this is like a releasing too. If you want to go with that, just say yes. But the second part are just affirmations that I say about myself, too. Okay, here it goes. I am in the new. I release all limitations. I am in the new. I release all limitations causing pain in my physical body. I am in the new. I release all limitations causing pain in my emotional and mental bodies. I am in the new. My soul releases all pain and limitation that does not serve me. I am in the new. My soul releases all that is not of love. I am in the new. My soul releases all that is not of joy. I am in the new. My soul releases all that is not of abundance. I am in the new. My soul releases all that is not of perfect health. I am in the new. My soul releases all that is not aligned with financial abundance, doing the things I love through the avenues I love. I am in the new. My soul releases all that is not aligned with the truth of who I am. I am in the new. My soul releases all that is not aligned with balance, equanimity, and grace. I am in the new. My soul releases all that is not aligned with trust and courage. I am in the new. My soul releases all that is not aligned with non-judgment and forgiveness of myself and others. I am the new. My soul releases all that my soul feels that I am ready to release at the deepest levels. There is only love. I have everything I need and want. I'm very protected. The divine plan is always unfolding for me. The universe anticipates my needs far ahead and delivers. I am living with vitality, perfect health, and joyous energy. I'm aligning myself 100% with my highest potential. I am the empowered creator of my life. I am aligning with I love myself just the way I am. I love all of me. I deserve to be loved just the way I am. I am my best friend and soulmate. I am wonderful. I am open and receptive to all good things in life. I choose to put me first because I am the aspect of the divine creator, and I am total, pure love. So these are some examples of what we could be saying and more to ourselves every single day for 40 days and 40 nights. And it's even good if you put them on some kind of a program that you can play, and you can fall asleep and listen to them. And actually, it's very good if you do that. You can actually fall asleep if you're on the tape running and recording, and you can be sleeping, and these will affect your subconscious.
So do you have these written somewhere where someone can use these affirmations? Because it's you know, it's very intuitive, but it's a mouthful.
Yes, I have them in my book, The Keys to Unlocking the Law of Attraction, which you can find on my website. Also, I do help people with it in coaching. I do coaching sessions, and it pertains to them, whatever pertains to them individually and what they're working on too.
Yep.
You know, just playing this tape back, you can write some of them down and stop it and write some of these down that pertain to you. You can make them up too. You kind of get an idea of what I'm saying and what you need to work on. I get a lot of mine from other people and I just write them down. I stop the recording and I just write it down, and then I play the recording again. But I always aim for love and abundance and joy and perfect health and everything that I want. The truth of who I am at the highest level. What I can do and what I can do at the highest level of me. In all my 600 or more lifetimes, what's the highest one I can align with?
I have a question for you. Where can everybody find you? Facebook, Twitter?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook. You just go on Facebook and go to Your Essential Happiness Coaching, Life Coaching. Your Essential Happiness, and you'll find me there. And also, I have a website, www.youressentialhappiness.com, and you can write to me on that website. You can have an ebook. The ebook's really inexpensive of what I wrote, and a lot of this is in my book.
Okay.
And also, in my book is not available on Amazon, and the reason that is true is because I first wanted to start out around my own area, because I took one step at a time. It would have been scary for me to go on Amazon at first, but now my second book I'm writing, I'm definitely going to do it through Amazon. So it's one step at a time for me too, but it's also available. The hard copy is also available. I have a printer who printed it up for me, so you can buy the hard copy or you can get the e-copy. And you can also have coaching. My coaching sessions are on there, and I can help you individually to attain what you want, so you can have the heaven on earth that you want, because everyone's working on something different.
Awesome.
And
so, ladies and gentlemen, say your last name for me. Is it Finley, correct?
Finley. Finley. F is in Frank. Inley. It's an F like in Frank.
So, Sue Finley. Please go to our website. There's one thing that I always do at the end of our show. Remember, guys and gals and people, when you get out the shower or when you get in your car or just have a moment alone and you're near a reflective surface, particularly a mirror, look in that mirror and look at those eyes, look at the brow, look at the hair. And I prefer you to do this when you get out the shower because you're in your birthday suit, so you can really appreciate who you are. But look in those eyes and just take a moment and be with yourself. Just take a moment, absorb who you are, and understand what it means to be in the billionaire lifestyle, because you are at least $1 billion to one. I mean, that's at the very minimum. So you're already a billionaire. So stop. It's not really about money. Money is just a resource so we can move through this planet. But you have to love and you have to appreciate yourself. Talk to yourself. We've just got the affirmation or reaffirmation from Susan here today of what I'm saying. And remember, you have to love yourself, because this is how it works. When you love you, that love is like a sphere. It's like a force field that emanates from your head to your toes and surrounds you like a Taurus magnet. And with that, it's going to touch other people, which will cause them to love themselves and love you. Just imagine if we were all in that same vein. We would have none of the problems that we exhibit on this planet. And with that, thank you, Susan.
Thank you so much, and that was awesome what you just said. And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Ladies and gentlemen, till next time, peace.